Abaraboye, Orisa Lifestyle for Beginners. Today I want to introduce into our conversation three distinctions of spiritual development and participation within Orisa Lifestyle. And these three levels of distinction can be typified by a pyramid. Okay? If you take a pyramid like that, 80% of the pyramid, the bottom portion, 80% of that bottom portion represents people who are concerned with appearances. Okay? If the other practitioners have lots of beads, then they want lots of beads. If they've got a bunch of pots, then you want a bunch of pots. If they've got title, then you want one. If they've got a certificate on the wall, then you want one. If they got a picture with whatever, then you want to have that, right? To an extent, that's natural, right? There's a way that people in all societies have to create a visual representation of group membership, right? Within the tradition, very simple example is Ashoebi. Ashoebi is family cloth. So for example, this cloth that I have on here is indigo from Oshogbo. Shout out to Ajitos Art Gallery of Oshogbo. When I had this made, and it's a fantastic piece of indigo, I must say. It's got some really nice hand woven embroidery all around it's a really beautiful piece. But I had this made for myself and for my family. All right. So all of my children who were born at the time that I had this, they all have this same cloth. And they've outgrown theirs though. But Ashoebi is a way that it's a visual representation of your group membership. So I'm not trying to knock the people who are into visual appearances and looking like they're a part of the team or a member of the group. It's natural. It's the way it should be. But beyond the appearances, there are standards. Okay, the standards are what make the look have meaning, right? Standards give the appearances meaning and significance, because when you have something, it means 1, 2, 3 things about it. It means that you are also able to do 1, 2, 3 things. All right. So the what I call the beads and the pots and the titles are appearances, and then the standards are the different levels of knowledge that you have that match each of those things, and the different performance levels that you have mastered relative to whatever beads, pots, and titles that you have. And quite honestly, that is my greatest concern. That for me is the biggest hurdle for us to overcome collectively, because we've got massive growth. People are coming into Orisa Lifestyle by droves, and there's so much information, there's so much access, there's so much activity, but quite honestly, only from what my observation and experience is like of the 80%, only 15% of the people are even being introduced to the standards, right? So not everybody is being schooled on the things that you need to know, the minimum knowledge requirements and the minimum performance requirements for any level of participation, which is making for a very chaotic kind of a situation. And for the beginner, it's highly detrimental, because you don't know really how to orientate yourself. It's hard to make sense of anything when two people are generals, right? And one doesn't even know where the barracks are. Okay, two people are master. I'm just using these examples. Two people are master drummers, but one of them can't even keep the basic downbeat. Like, what I don't understand, right? Because there's no standard. There's no predictable standard. The level of inconsistency is so great that for you as the beginner, it's becoming increasingly hard to discern what it is you're supposed to be looking for. All right. And then once we've gotten past, that level of standard, though, just to continue with the lesson, then you got the question of quality. Quality is moving beyond appearances, moving beyond standards, and looking at the purpose, the reason why you're doing anything. When you can identify more strongly with the reason why, then you're going to vibrate and resonate with how you deliver whatever it is you're doing. And the relationship that determines the quality of your participation is your relationship to, let's say, your relationship to the icon. It's your relationship to the beads. It's your relationship to the shrine. It's your relationship to the knowledge. It's your relationship to the ritual or whatever it is that you're performing. How deeply are you relating to those? How much are you really feeling and allowing yourself to get into all of those things and feel them and let them, sort of impose themselves upon you and have that reciprocal relationship with all of them? That's going to determine the quality. But more equal importance is, as you've cultivated that relationship within yourself to your beads, your pots, your titles, what you know and what you can do with all of them, then there's the question of service. Why am I doing this? Okay. I'm doing all that because I'm serving. And who am I serving and for what purpose am I serving? Am I serving these people in a health capacity? Am I serving these people, preparing them for war? What am I doing? Right? Why am I doing this? What's the real purpose for me having this relationship to all of these things and to these people? That's going to define your quality. Okay? And largely, that can be taught. Quality can be taught. There's only 5% of the people who are really moving into quality. Okay? But quality really is something that it can't be taught to thousands and thousands of people. It can't. Even for the people who are naturals, they still need to be taught in enhancing their quality, but it's not something that's going to happen in mass. Those are lessons and skills that you develop like one-on-one, right? And those are long-term relationships that happen between, the student and the teacher, right? And it's not something that's happening, by the hundreds and the thousands. But standards, we can absolutely define, establish, maintain, and raise. All right, and that's the goal of the Orisa Lifestyle Academy. We want to set a standard and allow that standard to be consistent from one side to the other. So no matter where you are, when you meet people who say that they have done these things, there's a body of knowledge and a skill set that is going to be very consistent. It will be particular to the individuals, of course, and their circumstances, but your point of reference for the standard will be very clearly defined. Okay, and so when you look at the books that we offer, when you look at the classes that we offer, when you look at the tours that we offer, the driving force behind that really is focused on helping the people who have bought into the tradition and are participating in the tradition at the level of at least appearances and knowing that you feel something for this and you want to be a part of it, to being able to create a consistent set of standards that will frame up and define and organize your participation from A to Z. And one of those parameters for standards is self-discovery. All of our people are going to have done a certain level of self-discovery. Another characteristic of those parameters is going to be daily practice. All of our people are going to have a daily practice. Anyone who you meet who's gone through the personal priesthood certification, for example, they're going to understand what a daily practice is and what it looks like. And they're going to be able to talk to you about it and show you. And thirdly, there's going to be sacred service. These are people who have given thought and cultivated a system that helps them to be of greater and greater service to a cause, a group of people, or perhaps even just one individual. Okay, and there are multiple other elements that go into it, but those are the three pillars of our standard-based, developmentally appropriate process here in the Orisa Lifestyle Academy. Aboru aboye, aboshishe.